Hey guys, welcome back to another Skyrim mods video. Today I'm keeping it pretty simple. Some of these mods you might find a little useful, but some of them not so much. But in my opinion, they all deserve the spot in today's video. So if you end up finding a mod that you like and downloading it, don't forget to endorse that mod author. And as of right now, let's dive right in. Starting off today, like I said, with a pretty simple mod. This mod overhauling Cities of the North and just the Falkreath version. This mod is called Skyfall Cities of the North Falkreath Reshaped. This mod reshapes, and because it reshapes, it also causes the textures to change to the architectures around the Cities of the North, giving it a more vanilla Skyrim type of look. With these changes, it blends better with pretty much every other city around Skyrim. So if you wanted to just use one Cities of the North, you don't have to force yourself to use every other one of the Cities of the North, and it'll still look perfectly fine, because before you kind of had to use all of them, otherwise it looked out of place. And this won't really break anything because it's just changing the edges of most buildings, and nothing is usually attached to those, so it won't need many patches. The fun part about this mod is that packed in all inside of one, you can pretty much grab Theodor's Iverstead, which I also use, and change the architecture to match the vanilla Skyrim farmhouses. Up next, a mod I think deserves some attention, but this mod is called No Loot When Armed. This mod is a SKSE plugin, so I feel like I don't need to mention that this doesn't have a plugin, so it doesn't need to be ESL or not. But with this mod installed, when you try and loot or just pretty much activate anything, if you have weapons or a shield or even magic out, your character will put up your weapons first and then you can pick up the item. And this mod pretty much checks for everything, so there's really nothing that bypasses it besides maybe coins. But other than that, that's just the basic of the mod, because you can also customize it. So with the INI file, you can turn things off and on depending on what you want to put your weapon up for, just for immersion reasons, so this doesn't seem like a chore. Up next, we got another immersive mod that takes us to Whiterun, but not overhauling the city itself, but instead the companions. This mod is called Skyforge Immersion Addon. With this mod installed, you'll no longer be able to just walk up and use the Skyforge. Now when you interact with it, you'll get a notification letting you know that you can't use it. The menu won't pop up, but your character will still stand there for a few seconds until you're kicked off. Now you have to actually complete the companion quest line, or at least become friends with them before you're allowed to use the Skyforge. And the main reason why this mod is so useful now is because with the Skyforge, if you stand near it, you also get a 5% weapons and armor improvement rate, but that is the base percentage. After you become complete friends with the companions and after somebody dies, just in case there are spoilers almost 12 years later, then you get a 10% upgrade to weapons and armor. And while we're in Whiterun, I figured I'd mention this next mod. This mod is called HFS Whiterun Temple Bench. This mod pretty much retextures and remeshes the only thing that no one really has ever done before, at least not in a separate Whiterun overhaul. Now the benches have been made as a standalone, and they have been completely changed to be modernized, but also Nordic. This is a mod I pretty much installed as soon as I seen it was available, but I figured I'd mention it here. Now we got kind of a more massive overhaul, if you will, but this mod is called Fort Dunstad by Snazzy. This mod, as you can see, adds tons of new enemies to Fort Dunstad, as well as new fortifications and new destroyed buildings that are turned off as soon as you get to Fort Dunstad. But as soon as you clear the location with the Civil War questline, you can actually open up those buildings and repopulate the dungeon and the fort with actual friendly NPCs rather than bandit. From my time testing this mod, unless I broke something, no NPCs will actually repopulate this fort except for bandits after 30 days. If you don't do the Civil War questline. But it pretty much overhauls the exterior and the interior of the fort, as well as the prison. There's also small little Easter eggs around the place that you can discover if you choose to. Otherwise, you can just run through and kill everything like I did. But fair warning, because of the increase of enemies and a new size of this place, including the interior expansion, you're going to need a lot more help clearing this place. Unless you're pretty overpowered before you start the Civil War questline, which is typically what I do. I usually farm before I do questlines. And next up, now we got a new armor mod that is female only, but this mod is called ELLE's Necromant, adding a craftable 3BA heavy armor that also comes with the UBE patch for those using that. This armor also comes with 3 variants from my usage. The metal pieces don't really change, but the cloth part under it is where most of the changes happens. It also, as you see, comes with the 2-handed scythe and 3 different versions for the 3 different armors. And if you don't have a mod that adds new animations for the scythe, It'll instead just use Warhammer animations, which in my opinion tend to be the most overpowered, but maybe that's just me. And as you can see, it also comes with HDT as soon as you put on the armor, but to have this armor in full effect or even to see your character in the armor, you do have to build your body first before joining the game, or you'll just be a floating head and just have feet. To get this armor, you have to grab the crafting book inside of your Vasker or add it to your inventory. And up next, we got another female only armor, well technically clothing. This mod is called Volkihar Assassin outfit. With this mod at installation, you can pick between either having this armor as clothing or armor, light armor to be specific. This outfit, like the previous mod, also comes with 3 variants to pick and choose from. But as you can see, it closely resembles that of modern clothing for those looking for an isekai type of theme, which I've seen is pretty popular on Reddit for some reason. This armor at base is for 3BA and UBE, but the patch for UBE is provided in the main file, so you don't have to go find it somewhere else. And it's pretty simple to equip, only about 7 pieces. To get this armor though, it is a little more complicated because you can't just find it inside of any interior. Instead, you have to actually do the Dawnguard questline, and you'll find the crafting book inside of the Dim Hollow Crypt next to Serana's grave. Well, technically, before someone corrects me in the comments, it would be her coffin rather than her grave. And it is subtle, but this armor also does come with its own HDT that moves around the shirt, as you can see in the crop top. Up next, we go over to the Dragonborn DLC for a small interior overhaul by a fan favorite. But this mod is called Snazzy Interiors, the Retching Netch. Honestly, I never expected a Dragonborn DLC interior overhaul because that's like the one place no one has ever touched, but I guess in 2025, people have been overhauling Dragonborn DLC. Firstly, I noticed JK's Raven Rock overhaul and now an overhaul for the boring Retching Netch, adding new rooms for storage and overhauling the ones already there, making it seem fairly used. There are also new lighting sources, so it doesn't seem quite so dark, especially if you use Lux. There's also new crafting stations for you to use so that this place isn't useless besides waiting for a quest NPC. And also, speaking of Lux, if you want to use Lux, you have to download the patch collection, which has the Lux patch inside of it. And because of all the new added furniture and lighting sources, you might notice more NPCs frequenting this place more often, mainly due to the new idle stations. Also, this walk is from Underdog. It was unintentional, but I found it fits. Alright, and I promise this is the last armor mod. There were just so many good ones, but this mod is called Sigrin Silver Fox armor, adding in a Nordic themed female only light armor that does require you to build body slide before you join in game, or you will be invisible as usual. But speaking of body slide, this mod supports 3BA at base, but it did just come out, so at the time of me recording, there's no other body slide patch available. This armor is also super modular. Almost every piece can be unequipped and equipped at the same time, and it also has HDT, as you can see, but if you want, it comes with separate pieces without you having to reinstall the mod that will turn the HDT off, but only on the parts you choose. So everything about this armor that destroys your FPS can be customized by you. Up next, a simple magic mod, and I say simple because it only adds one spell. This mod is called Nebula Arts, the Void's Draw. This mod adds one new destruction spell that will drag enemies who are near, staggering them for a few seconds, and if you use poise like me, they will completely fall over. That is not a vanilla effect. This mod also damages them, but not for a great amount, and only one time because this is meant to be more of a crowd control. Another limit that this mod has is that it does not work on very large creatures, but it does work very well when you are surrounded by a lot of enemies and need to create space for yourself. But it definitely does look cool though. And another mod of today that overhauls the abandoned prison, and a mod that just turned me on to another author. This mod is called Reimperialized, Abandoned Prison by the Ludus. In my opinion, they are definitely an underrated mod author because this overhaul is definitely amazing. It turns the Nordic abandoned prison into that of a more of Imperial look because it was owned by the Imperials. And as you can see, it didn't just overhaul the exterior because the exterior was changed so much, the interior was also changed. This mod does come with a Lux patch, but I didn't loot it correctly, so the lighting didn't look exactly perfect, but as you can see, it definitely looks pretty good. And if you use a mod like Alternate Start, Live Another Life, like most people, it has a patch for that in its patch collection, which is how I even found out about this mod. And I'm glad I did because this is definitely staying in my load order. Just like their Dark Light Tower overhaul, but that'll definitely be for another video because as of right now guys, that was pretty much it for today. This video honestly was just me catching up on mods that I maybe missed or didn't think people would find too exciting, but I'm pretty sure there are some mods in here that some people will like. So make sure you leave a like on the video, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Peace and love, guys.